Hey TFTS, back with another blood-boiling interaction with users who don't know what they want. So, I built a basic data warehouse for my company, where any side of the business can send regularly important data to be stored securely, and can access it on demand via pre-built queries on Excel sheets, with proper permissioning so there is no wall crossing. My company thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread, but it's just a pretty simple database to me. The other thing this solution does is send emails. If data failed to import, we get a notification. If you want to compare positions from one day to the other, or you want to track changes across periods, you get a nice HTML table. If you want a CSV with last quarter's relevant factors, you get an attachment. Again, nothing extraordinary. Well, a new requirement arrives, more data needs to be snapped, and new statistics have to be calculated and emailed to corresponding recipients. All routine stuff. Things progress as they normally do. I develop it, we test it, we deploy to production, and the system starts sending the emails with live data. So far, so good. About a month in, I get some feedback. The numbers look great, the process is running smoothly, users are overall happy. The only problem is that a lot of people are missing these emails because they are being auto-forwarded to folders. Can you send the emails from your personal email instead? Record scratch. Turns out that the people who asked me during previous data warehousing to be included in certain notifications got tired of receiving emails from mysystem_prod@mycompany.com, and so they set up rules in Outlook to move anything coming from that address to a folder I can tell they never check. And now, they're missing those new and important messages. So, instead of fixing their own mess by adjusting their own Outlook rules, they want the notifications to be sent from my personal company email instead. Face, meet palm, users, meet big middle finger. I'm not your mother, clean your own mess. Our most senior back-end dev guy decided today was the day to become a legend. 8 a.m. To the director he quietly sends a resignation letter. Panic ensues. This guy's business critical, he knows how everything works on a dozen products at code level and wrote a few of them. Bosses begin having heart attacks, and the director finds out the HR person that we would need to make a counteroffer ... is on vacation. So at this point they're about to start waking up executives in other countries and kicking loose emergency negotiations. As is that critical? And someone messages the guy, this really is not the best time for this. His response, no. But it is the best day for it. I'm sure they'll see how funny it was eventually. He should have waited an hour to see what kind of offer they came up with. Long ago I worked in a network operations center attached to a co-location data center. It wasn't all that large. About 5 people during the day, 2 at night. Due to reasons that were above my pay grade, we had to maintain a physical copy of hands-on work that was requested by customers that resided in the data center. This involved getting the request by email, putting it into a ticket, then copying that same request, pasting it into a Word document with the ticket number, printing it out and stuffing it into a folder in a large filing cabinet. After a year, we were allowed to destroy the physical copy, but no one ever had time to sort them, so some folders swelled for the 3 years I was there. Anyways, the bottleneck of this whole convoluted process was the printer. It was barely above home grade in the late 90s, single tray feet, single side printing, black and white. Its pages per minute was single digits. Not a huge problem overall, but one that was frustrating nonetheless. I recall us begging for our manager to authorize a replacement, and he tried his best. He was in our court because he had to use the damned thing too. The response was, it is working, and therefore we will not replace it. After going a couple rounds with the buyers, our manager came in just as we were switching to night shift and said something along the lines of, I'm not allowed to buy a new printer for us until that thing breaks. I'm going home now. With a smile and a nod, he turned his back so he couldn't see our sadistic grins forming as his words sunk in. That printer accidentally fell down 4 flights of concrete steps that night. In the morning, our manager arrived, saw that the printer was now being held together by duct tape, and asked us, straight-faced, what happened. Our response, violent paper jam. This was met with a shrug, and a new printer arrived by the end of the week. I miss those people. I do not miss that printer. TL, Doctor, Manager encouraged office space reference. Okay, so English isn't my first language, so apologies if some technical terms are wrong or unclear. Please feel free to correct me. I work as a software engineer, and most of the time the projects I work on with my team are either the technical support for existing SCADA systems or integration of new ones. Recently we got a new client who acquired new buildings and is now hiring us to automate everything. We would be setting up servers and build a new system etc. for their employees to be able to view and control the lighting, heating, AC, etc. in whatever room they're in. The problem is that the existing system is running on 18-year-old software, external servers, and is incompatible with the security standards they decided on. So we gave them an outline on what we'd have to do, set up and change to meet all of their regulations and standards. This is a big client, one of the biggest companies in the automotive industry. So it's not like they're short on money for something as insignificant as building automation. Plus, they know their regulations are very high compared to smaller companies, so you'd assume they know to expect higher costs. Except their associate who's overseeing the whole project, and who chose our company for the job, expects us to use the old, existing, infrastructure and just I'd build on top of it. I called him today to discuss the specifics and it went something like this: me equals me, A equals him. Me: hi, I'm calling to discuss the integration of the new system. A: right. Yes. See, I took a look at your proposal and I see you intend to install new touch panels in every room? Me: yes, that's right. You stated that all rooms should be controllable by the employees sitting in them. The best possibility for that is having control panels in each room that allows them to change the heating, lighting and check the AC and window contacts all in one. We feel like that's the easiest solution so that even employees who don't own company work phones have access to it. A: yes, I approve of that idea. However, you said you would need to set up an entirely new system for it. Why is that? I know the buildings have perfectly a fine, working, system in place already. Me: yes, but what you requested is not possible to build on the current Windows 2003 servers you have. A: okay, but why not? Windows is Windows, isn't it? Me: the project includes roughly 300,000 data points for the administration buildings alone. The production facilities have even more space required to automate. Also, not every room is currently connected to the system as you added new walls inside the building. Plus, as externally managed servers, they do not meet your required security standard and would need to be changed either way. A: okay, so you're implementing a new SCADA system for us to use, yes? Me: that's correct. A: but since you refuse to use the existing server, I expect the upgrade to the new ones to be of no additional costs to us. Me: what do you mean? A: since there is already infrastructure for building automation in place, I expect you to add the new servers free of cost. Changing them was your idea after all. Me: I'm sorry? That's not. Did I explain it wrong, or what exactly is unclear about the procedure? A: nothing is wrong, what you propose makes sense to me. But the costs for the switch can't be that significant, so I expect them to be added for free as a bonus. This project is already very expensive, so it shouldn't be a loss for you to add them on top. Me: A: so did we come to an understanding? Me: no, we do not. I'm sorry, but that is something I need to talk about with my boss. The costs you imagine are a lot higher than you think, and this is not a decision I am authorized to do. A: what? I googled servers and they are not that expensive. This is ridiculous. Me: I will get back to you after discussing it with my boss. Let's schedule a meeting with the supervising team for this project and discuss the general outline and costs again. I will send you our offer again with the cost allocation so that you can rediscuss it with your team until the meeting. The meeting is next week, and I have honestly no idea what he thought the costs of servers and their continued maintenance are, because that's like one of the most expensive things about the whole project. The original post is here. https://www.reddit.com/r/talesfromtechsupport/comments/pathr12/the/phones/work/when/tested/. them /_connected /_ to /https://www.reddit.com/r/tales-from-tech-support/comments/pathrU12/the_phone_s_connected_to/. The gist of the old post is I worked freelance IT for small businesses in my area. One of them decided to replace me with another company. It turns out the other company is just the IT director for the community college. He's a people manager, and knows next to nothing about IT. I told them to call me if they ever need anything. The new guy immediately started messing stuff up. Now, the update. It's been a wild several months. It's been about 8 months since they let this guy start working on their network, and it is really obvious that he doesn't know what he is doing. They have finally fired him and brought me back in to clean up his mess. So, first I'd like to list what the customers wanted done. 1. Set up new VoIP phones to replace an ancient Avaya phone system. 2. Set up second location and a VPN between them. This requires installing new firewalls. 3. Set up an Access VPN so users can WFH directly on their laptops instead of using remote desktop. The goal here is to get rid of the desktops in the office that just sit there with no one ever sitting at the desk. Their workers do 90% of their work outside of the office. So, we covered the screw-up with the phones in my other post. Next came setting up the second office. I did a minor update on my old post about that and how I had to go in to set up the copier for printing just so they could start using that office. We were still waiting on them to set up the new firewalls to link the two office. Well, the new guy decided that would wait and instead decided they needed to install a new server first. He sold them on a HP ProLiant ML350 Gen 10. I know I might catch flack, but I absolutely hate HP enterprise servers. I've had nothing but reliability issues with them. He sold it to them as a bare bones, and made them buy hard drives to put in it, no solid-state storage, and had them buy WinServer 2019. Plugged it in, installed Windows, joined it to the domain, and then nothing. It just sat there for months. Apparently the guy couldn't figure out how to promote it to a domain controller. First thing I noticed is he was trying to run promo from the run dialog. I don't know if that even still works, but I know it's not the right way to do it. The issue though came down to the forest level not being high enough for server 2019. It apparently took him months to figure this out, but he did finally get the new server promoted to a domain controller. Then did nothing else with it. When I went in to take over, there was no software installed on the new server, and all the drivers hadn't even been loaded. Device Manager was a sea of yellow, with no driver loaded errors. Oh, and one of the 3 SAS drives they put in the server has already died with the click of death. Remember how I said HP servers are unreliable? So, now for the firewalls and VPN setup. The customer has 1 Gbps internet at both locations. So what does the guy do? He sells them firewalls that are only rated for 800 Mbps throughput. And these aren't cheap firewalls either, he sells them for $600 each. I could have gotten them Netgate 4100s for that. On top of that, the Access VPN for these firewalls actually don't allow split tunneling, so when connected to the VPN, the user's laptop loses internet access. This actually isn't what they wanted. He admitted he didn't listen to what they wanted when he started all this work, and thought they just wanted to VPN into the office so they could then use remote desktop over the VPN to connect to their computers. So now I have to replace the firewalls. They did manage to set up a site-to-site VPN between the two offices. But they set one office's IP scope as 192.168.1.0 and the other as 10.1.10.1. I know it isn't really a big issue, but it bugs me. I just got back in to start fixing things last week. I've found a few other, what I consider, stupid stuff they did. Here is a list. The new server's IP address was DHCP assigned as 192.168.1.112, so they just stuck with it. Who uses a random IP for a domain controller IP? I know it will work, but again it bugs me. Apparently, at some point, the wireless access point at the main office died. To replace it they installed 2 Ubiquiti Nano Station Loco M2. These are outdoor access points, designed to be pole-mounted, and they are 2.4 GHz only. When they finally got around to installing the firewall at the second office, they didn't think about wireless. They scheduled it for a Friday night after the office closed, so an employee had to stay late with them. When the guy showed up, he realized he messed up and didn't have a wireless AP. Before he installed the firewall, they were just connecting to the ISP's gateways wireless. So he had to run out to Best Buy and buy a consumer wireless router to act as a AP to give them wireless after the firewall was in. He set up the wireless on the new AP with the same wireless network name as the ISP's gateway, and never disabled the Wi-Fi on the ISP's gateway. You'd think he would have set the new AP to have the same Wi-Fi as the main office, so moving between the two is seamless, but nope. Also, he didn't disable DHCP on the consumer router he was using as an AP. They've been chasing odd networking issues at the second office and could never figure it out. Well, that will happen when you have 3 DHCP servers trying to hand out IPs and 2 different networks with the same SSID. I found out they also sold the customer a 4G LTE backup internet connection for the main office. Installed the hardware and activated the service, then promptly did nothing with it. They never plugged it into anything on the network, just left it sitting there. They installed new smart switches in both offices. They are 16-port switches. They never logged into them. I know because when I logged in it prompted to change the default password and would not let you continue without doing it. Also, the main office needs more than 16 ports, so they left the old 24-port switch connected in the rack and ran the extra connections through that. Of course, the 24-port switch was already enough. But they got to sell the customer a new switch. I'm sure there's more I'll find as I dig into things more. And #X200B. Edit, a word.